Let's dive into one of history's all-time greatest David versus Goliath stories. It's a tale of how one single surrounded city stared down the most feared army on the entire planet. This is the Siege of Kalwin, and it's an absolute masterclass in beating overwhelming power, not with force, but with a brilliant and incredibly audacious lie.
Okay, so to really get this, we have to set the scene. The year is 1221, and the Mongol Empire is basically a force of nature that's just sweeping across Asia. And leading its most lethal army is Tului Khan, the youngest and, by all accounts, most ferocious son of Genghis Khan. You have to understand, his war machine isn't just an army. It's an unstoppable force that hasn't just been defeating its opponents, it has literally been erasing them from the map.
And that brings us to the central mystery here, right? How could an army that leveled entire empires be stopped? And not just stopped, but totally humiliated by the defenders of one city? Well, the answer lies in a strategy so bold, it was, frankly, kind of insane.
So, how did this whole thing kick off? Well, Tului Khan's army just rolls up to the gates of Kalwin and surrounds it. In their minds, this is just another Tuesday, another city to crush. The plan was simple, just overwhelm them with sheer numbers.
But see, this wasn't just a battle of armies. It was really a battle of philosophies, a clash of two very different commanders. On one side, you have Tului Khan, the hammer. His solution to every single problem, just hit it harder. And on the other side, you've got the city's defender, Nizamuddin, the tactician. This is a guy who knew that a fair fight meant certain death. His only way to survive was to be smarter.
So Tului does what he does best. He just throws wave after wave of his soldiers at the city walls. But Nizamuddin was ready for this. His archers were positioned perfectly, and they just unleashed this devastating rain of arrows and fire down on the Mongol ranks. That first assault? Yeah, it was a bloody, spectacular failure for the Mongols.
Now, a guy like Tului Khan does not take losing well. He was stunned. He was enraged. And for him, this was no longer just about conquest. Oh no, this was personal. He made a vow of total annihilation, promising not just to take Kalwin, but to wipe it off the face of the earth.
So after a week of fighting off these relentless attacks, Nizamuddin knew their luck was about to run out. I mean, they were hopelessly outnumbered. He had to face a pretty stark reality. He couldn't win with force. He had to win with his mind. And so he came up with one of the most incredible gambits in military history.
Nizamuddin's plan was just a masterstroke of psychology. First, he had his spies spread rumors in the Mongol camp, saying the defenders of Kalwin were totally broken and planning this desperate midnight escape. Second, he got a decoy force ready, over 100 horses, but with cloth dummies on the lead animals so they'd look like riders in the dark. The goal? Lure Tolui's entire army into a pointless chase, leaving their main camp wide open for the real attack.
And Tului Khan, blinded by his own rage and arrogance, he took the bait, hook, line, and sinker. He heard these rumors of a retreat and thought, aha, they're running scared. He got his main force ready to intercept and crush them in the middle of the night.
The whole thing unfolded with perfect clockwork timing. Right at midnight, the decoy horses are released. Tolui's scouts spot them, a signal flare shoots up into the sky, and Tului himself leads this thunderous charge after them. But at that exact same moment, Nizamuddin's real attack force was slipping quietly out of a different gate, heading straight for the Mongol camp.
So while the bulk of the Mongol army is miles away, literally chasing shadows in the dark, Nizamuddin and his warriors just slam into their main encampment. The skeleton crew let behind to defend the camp was caught completely by surprise. It was absolute chaos.
The raid was a spectacular success. Nizamuddin's forces just completely overran the camp. They took out the defenders and grabbed a massive trove of supplies, weapons, animals, and, this is the best part, thousands of fresh Mongol warhorses. Then they just slipped right back inside Kalwin's walls before the sun came up. Meanwhile, miles and miles away in the darkness, Tolui's horsemen finally catch up to the fleeing army, and that's when it hits them, that humiliating, sinking feeling. The lead horses are carrying cloth dummies. The rest are riderless. They had been completely and utterly tricked.
So can you imagine Tului Khan racing back to his camp in an absolute fury? And what does he find when he gets there? Total devastation. His camp is a ruined, smoldering wreck, and it's littered with the bodies of his own men. The true cost of his arrogance was staring him right in the face.
The defeat was total, and you can really break it down into 3 huge losses for him. First, the public humiliation of being so completely outsmarted. Second, the massive material loss of his camp, all his supplies, and thousands of his vital war horses.
And third, the devastating loss of his own warriors, who were slaughtered while their commander was off on a fool's errand.
But Tolui's rage, it wasn't gone. For 8 more days, he furiously threw what was left of his army against Kalwin's walls. But it was useless. His army was broken, demoralized. Meanwhile, the defenders inside were emboldened, and thanks to the raid, they were now flush with Mongol supplies.
And so the unstoppable force was stopped. He was utterly defeated, not by a bigger army, but by a smarter one. Tolu Khan, the son of the great Genghis Khan, was forced to admit failure, lift the siege, and just retreat in disgrace.
This incredible story really leaves us with a final question, doesn't it? Kalwin is this timeless reminder that on any battlefield, whether it's in war or in life, brute force can be undone by pure intellect. It proves that sometimes the greatest weapon isn't the size of your army, but the power of the story your enemy is willing to believe.